When we're having a hard time, for whatever reasons, what sometimes happens is the moment we sit down with the intention to meditate, we feel as though we're just bombarded with a whole load of stuff, and it feels impossible to settle because there's this sense of being just surrounded by a load of difficult things coming at us. And in difficult times, these could be worries, anxieties, fears, maybe sadness about the state of things, or maybe we know someone who's ill or dying, or sad about someone who has died, or just a general kind of hopelessness that comes at us in the form of thoughts, sort of desperate thoughts, or maybe just feeling anxious about a lot of things that we have to do. We have this huge to-do list. Could be a very, very simple thing like shopping lists that we keep suddenly remembering something else, or maybe there's a flavour of irritation or frustration with someone else who's said or done something that we found hurtful or infuriating or difficult, and we're rerunning arguments maybe, or feeling a bit like that about ourselves, something that we've said or done and we're thinking, oh, that was so stupid, why did I say that? That was completely pointless, why did I do that, etc. Rerunning things. And there can also be a bit of frustration about friends who are hard to help, or people that you just can't seem to get through to. So it can be a whole variety of different things that we are bombarded with, or there can be a whole variety of stuff about one particular thing or one particular area of concern. Either way, it can feel like this bombardment by all the thoughts and feelings and everything that's coming up, or sort of feels as if it's coming at us, attacking us. And we feel completely inundated with all this. We feel overwhelmed by it. So much so that the possibility of any quietness or stillness gets crowded out by it all, and it seems impossible to let go of it or to do anything with it. And sometimes you simply can't do anything with it because it's kind of sucked your energy away, because all of this kind of thing is very energetic in itself. So it becomes very hard to restrain it because your energy has been taken away by it. So this is a helpful phrase that I use at times like that to help work with it. It's not my phrase, I can't take credit for it, but unfortunately I can't give credit for it either, because I can't remember where I got it from. It might be a Buddhist teacher, but I might just have plucked it out of a novel. I just have no idea. But the phrase is, in the midst of all this, in the midst of all this, because when it feels so overwhelming and constant, it's so easy to feel that's all there is, but it isn't. It's never all there is. There's always something else if we look for it, a different kind of energy, a different kind of place, a different kind of being. And that phrase helps us to repossess just enough energy to turn our attention away and investigate, just have a little look for that something else. To shift our attention enough, because there is always something else. There's always something somewhere that's calm, comfortable, quiet, content. But because of all this other stuff grabbing our attention, we don't notice it. It's harder to notice. So by saying, and in the midst of all this, that just helps nudge us into noticing. It's important to remember that we're not denying any of this stuff that's coming at us. We're not trying to push it away. We're not even trying to change it. Nothing like that at all. All we're doing, in fact, it's a good idea when you start to acknowledge everything that is there. And every time something comes up, something else comes at you, acknowledge that too. Oh yes, there's this and there's that. Oh, and there's that as well. You can name things if you want to, or just note them, feel them, acknowledge them, and then bring in that phrase, but in the midst of all this, and look for something else. Probably the simplest and most helpful thing to look for is something connected to the rhythm of the breath. And for most of us, the best place to find that or be with it is in the belly, which is our earth center. Because earth energy in itself is steady, calm, nourishing, quiet. So if we take our attention to our earth center in our belly, we can connect with something deeper, stiller, calmer, gentler there, which is very different from the energy of all this other stuff that's distracting us. However, if when you are worried about things or anxious about stuff, what happens for you is a lot of tightness or twistiness in the belly, which is fairly common, then that might not be such a good place for you. So you can just look somewhere else, just roaming around the body. Quite a good place to feel the rhythm of the breath and its gentle opening and releasing is the base of the rib cage. So just at and above the waist, particularly at the sides, you can feel that expansion and release there quite well. Or taking your attention to your sitting bones and feeling that contact sensation, which is of course earth element sensation, firmness meeting firmness through softer something or other, and really pay attention to those sensations there. It doesn't matter, just by saying, and yet in the midst of all this there is something else. So I'm just going to have a look and see where I can find that, and wherever it is for you, wherever works for you, you just notice that and stay with that for as long as you can. It can even be something as simple as somewhere that is just comfortable, particularly if you have any pains. I have quite a few pains going on normally, and sometimes it feels like a surprise and delight to find somewhere that just is completely pain-free and in fact feels comfortable and nice. Sometimes my just my right thigh is often a place that feels okay, and it's very pleasurable to be there. So there is an image you may be familiar with, which is of the Buddha's enlightenment at the point where he's being attacked by the armies of Mara, and sometimes you see this image where he's surrounded by arrows coming at him from all sides, all around, and as they get near to him they turn into flowers. So what you're doing with using this phrase is a little bit like that. I don't think it's really that he is, as he does in other stories, enveloping them in metta so much that they change. It's just simply that he is unperturbed, undistracted, so they're not having any effect on him, they're not impinging on him at all. And we're not trying to change these arrows that are coming at us into flowers. We're not trying to do anything with them. We're just looking for some unperturbedness, a bit of unperturbedness in us, because there will be something unperturbed, something quiet and still somewhere. There always is. And those things that are coming up for us may be important things. We will need to give our attention to them at some point, but wise attention comes from spaciousness and stillness. So if you're frazzled, you are not going to be able to deal with anything very effectively. So we need to spend some time with some more spaciousness and stillness, which is part of what we do with meditation, and at tough times probably need to emphasize that a bit more. So that's what we are looking for, a little point of, a little place of, a little flavour of, a little time somewhere else. In the midst of all this other stuff, there is always something else, a flavour of that. So just try this for a few minutes, making sure that you have your sitting things set up as well as possible. It's particularly important to do that for this because we want to make sure that we can sit really comfortably, because we may find it very helpful just to go to a place of physical comfort or focus on that, dwell in those places or in that feeling of comfort. So we need a broad base, lots of earth contact to help steady us, and making sure that your hands are well supported either on your thighs if you're cross-legged, or otherwise on a shelf of a blanket around your waist or a cushion at belly level. So you can completely let go of your shoulders, completely let go of the weight of your arms, and making sure that your height is such that your pelvis can have that natural tilt that allows the spine to rise up effortlessly as possible, because the muscles each side of it don't need to be straining to keep you upright. So settling into your position, and even with me leading you through this, you may find the usual stuff or new stuff coming at you, so just see what happens. And whether a lot of things immediately popped up, came at you, or not, maybe just a couple, or even just one very faint thing, just for the purposes of this, acknowledging everything else that's there, whatever thoughts, feelings about things that have been going on, are going on, will be going on, that you're worried will be going on, all of that stuff, acknowledging everything. If possible, getting a sense of the energy of those thoughts and the energy of those worries or regrets or anxieties. And then bringing in that phrase, yes, there's all of this stuff, there's this and there's that and there's that, but in the midst of all this, there is also something else. And then taking your attention maybe first to your belly, finding a place a bit below the belly button, midway between front and back. And feeling your way in there with your awareness, and seeing if there's some deepness, some stillness, some soft darkness in there, warmth, kindness, and the gentle rhythm of the breathing body that you can feel there. There's that too. Not denying any of this other stuff, but in the midst of all of that, there's this also. There's this something else. If the belly doesn't work for you because it's tight and twisted, try taking your awareness to the base of your rib cage, the back or sides. It's feeling that sense of expansion, opening with the in-breath, and releasing and relaxing on the out-breath. That sensation, that gentle movement, that opening and relaxing, it's a very different energy, a different feeling, sensation from the rest of the stuff. So in the midst of whatever, all of whatever, there is also that. So every time during any sort of meditation that you feel inundated, bombarded in this way, and it starts to feel as though you can't deal with it because there just is nothing else, you remember, yes, but in the midst of all this, there is something else if I look for it. And that just helps to shift your attention, to just regain a little bit of energy, enough for you to at least roam around and see what else there is. whenever your attention is taken, don't push whatever's taking it away. Just remind yourself that in the midst of all this, there is something else, because there is always, always something else. Even if it's just a bit of comfort or warmth, or that gentle sway of the body, rhythm of movement, whatever it is, that's there too, and you can appreciate it, stay with it for a bit, and that just helps to shift your energy enough to maybe continue more effectively with your meditation. And you just keep doing that whenever you need to. And of course you can also use this phrase out of meditation whenever you feel completely bombarded, inundated. Yes, there is all this, it's all there, but in the midst of all this, and look for something else. So maybe you're finishing now and going to get up and move on to the rest of your day, or you might just want to sit here feeling how you are, or now go on to use this phrase in whatever meditation you want to do now. So whatever happens, in the midst of all this, there is also